Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good middle of the night, depending on how much of a degenerate you are. Welcome back to the channel. We're doing Monday recording. Just going to be analyzing the weekly close from Sunday and the open here, talking about what the next week to 4 weeks has in store. Going to be getting the monthly close here shortly at the end of this week, so that'll be interesting. And just going to do a quick rundown of Bitcoin and look at a few things that I'm currently trading as well. It'll be a pretty quick video, so check it out. And if you're not already, please hit that subscribe button. Helps out. Nice to know that people care, and it's worth my time to do some of these things. Also, if you want to see when I'm posting videos, hit the notification button as well. And feel free to share the video on any social media, stuff like that, in Discord, wherever. Trying to build up the channel a little bit, and then we're going to be doing more live streams and doing videos with some of the other Twitter personalities, things like that. So stick around, keep an eye out for some more of those live streams and videos in the near future. All right, let's get right into it. Let's take a look at the market here. I have a Coinbase chart pulled up on a higher time frame. We'll also be looking at some BitMEX charts, and we'll be looking at a few altcoins as well, and just trying to get a feel for what's going on. At the end of this video is a link to the previous video that I did like this, just talking about the markets. Check that out as well. So far, that idea has been playing out pretty well. All right, let me just clean this up a little bit. Now I'm going to go up and do my favorite thing when I'm starting looking at the charts here, just looking at a very, very high time frame. So this is the monthly chart I have pulled up now. It looks fucking gorgeous. Back here, the low 3000s, that's when everybody was certain that Bitcoin was going to die this time. This is the time for real. Yeah, okay. Bitcoin has been wonderful to trade for years now. I feel very lucky to have read an article about it back in 2013. Bought some back then, even though at the time it was a terrible moment to buy it, because I don't remember if I bought it. I think it was 2013, might have been 2014, but it was right near the top. I bought it at just about $1,000 a coin right before it started tanking. So I got caught up in the FOMO, certainly back then. But it all turned out in the end. I did end up holding the amount that I bought back then all the way through until 2017. So it was fine. It just disheartening at first. So I do think that I have some understanding of what people felt when they bought, near 20,000 back in 2017. Although percentage-wise, the fall was equal. The physical amount of money that I spent was not probably what a lot of people were spending at that point. I could buy a whole Bitcoin for 1,000 back when I did it. All right, so let's look at these monthly levels. I'm going to throw them up here. This is just some price action, some horizontals, nothing special. Just standard way to look at the markets here, of course. I'm just marking some of the highs with these lines. I like using different color lines to mark out what's going on. I'm just going to draw a little box here because this is an interesting level. And I have my chart set up here so that anything I draw on the high time frame chart is going to draw itself on the lower time frame chart as well. This is just a 6-hour chart over here that I have pulled up. Let's see. Monthly, oh, you know what? I'm going to do one more. I just want to mark that open close level there. So we're still bouncing around between the monthly levels for the close 2 months ago and the open close of the previous month here. Still just bouncing around inside of there. All right, let's go down to, nope, not the daily, the weekly. I'm going to change my colors here. Like to use orange for the weekly. This stuff from last year, I did draw that monthly level because we came up here and we touched it. That was the high here just a couple months ago. A lot of these levels, this level has seemed to be pretty important. This 11.5 essentially is what that level is. All the way back there from last year. We did have this close, so I'm just putting a little bit more stock on the higher portion of that than the point from last year. But it is essentially that same level from last year. It's about 11.5. The weekly high close was actually 11.545 there, but it is that 11.5 level that has played a lot of importance. The monthly is kind of acting as a midline, mid-level there. This is the low of the current range that we're in on a closing basis at least, and you can see we did interact with that 9.5 again just 2 weeks ago. All right. And then, yeah, this area, this is all middle. This is mid-range, all this stuff, so not placing a ton of importance on that. That weekly level there, that probably has some importance. Looks like price is interacting with it quite frequently here. I'm just looking down here on the 6 hour now. These spots are all that same level. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, it's kind of this point too. So yeah, I'll mark that. Keep an eye on that. That's right in that same thing. It's the monthly is what it is. It's that same level as the monthly essentially. It's just a little OB or breaker right here. All right. So we've got some lines. Great. Love lines. Let's move on. Okay, down on the daily. Got the VPVR pulled up as well here just to see some of the volume. With the volume, I'm tending to pay a little bit more attention to the spot volume right now just because the leverage is so crazy on a lot of the leverage exchanges that people can fuck around with it a lot more. So with the spot exchanges, I think I'm just getting a little bit better idea of what's actually happening. And I do have some other tools other than just these charts. I'm going to show you one of them a little bit later for some of that. A couple tools, actually. I'll show you two of them. All right. And you may be familiar with some of them as well. We have this previous range down here. That's kind of an ascending range there. This has definitely been important. This area here is a daily OB. You could draw it with the wick or just with the body of that candle. We've been playing around in there. Price has come back down twice. As long as that's not hit again, that could hold as a bottom there. If we do touch that a third time, the more price dips into these kinds of areas, the less likely it is to bounce out of it again. Because it's just absorbing orders in that area. We had pretty decent bounce out of that area. That was pretty strong, but then a very strong sell-off as well. So a lot of consolidation. Obviously, people are charting that big triangle. I've seen a few different ways to do it. I showed one in the last video. Somebody I saw online was drawing it from way back here somewhere. They're just drawing a line all the way across the chart, basically, along this point here. And I know there are hotkeys for this stuff, but I just like doing it myself. All right. So, yeah, this is a triangle. I'm calling it a symmetrical triangle. It's a consolidation pattern. It can break either way. In bull markets, it does tend to break up, but no guarantee. And if you've traded Bitcoin or watched Bitcoin very long, you know that there's all kinds of fuckery that goes on just trying to trap people on either side of the market. So I don't, I'll watch those patterns, but I don't personally trade them because most breakouts are fake from any large pattern, any very obvious pattern especially. Breakouts tend to be fake more often than they're real. Perfect example of that was up here. A lot of people thought we were breaking out of the triangle at that point. I can show you why if you haven't looked at it before. You know, just draw those 2 points, or from the bullish candle closing basis. This is why. Everybody thought we were breaking out. Daily candle closed here up above that level. I was very suspicious of this, talking about it in Discord and on Twitter and in a live stream. You know, and sure enough, that did break down, and then I ended up shorting some here, and then ended up shorting again down here, moving more and more of my position into cash, just because that did look like it was the start of a longer-term downtrend. And that's essentially what I was saying in the video last week. I did take a look at the bullish case. We'll do that again since some things have changed here. But I'm just going to get rid of those triangles or those lines. And we could actually see price come up and retest that line. It kind of almost did here. Came right back up to that monthly level. So far, it has been a pretty strong rejection from that test. And that's kind of what I'm expecting to see. If we close back above this monthly level, again, like, it could be a fake out like we had here, certainly. But I'm going to choose to kind of believe it if it happens again. You know, this was a great little bull trap right here. It did trick me into going back into a position, and then I had to close lower down here. But that happens, you know, that doesn't really faze me very much. I prefer being in cash generally, especially during consolidations, because that gives me the opportunity to buy the lows of the consolidation or to buy the breakout of the consolidation. So not a big deal for me to be in cash at this point. Now, there is something interesting on this current daily candle. I'm going to show you guys a different exchange on that one too, just so we can see. BitMEX essentially rose much higher, and that's just because of short liquidations and overeager bullishness. You know, it came way up here somewhere in the 10,800 range, whereas pretty much all the spot exchanges topped out at this same level in below 10.7. That's, you know, that is an important difference. I had previously mentioned that if we break above 10.8, price action above there is an early warning sign for me that the bearish case is invalid. And of course, the 10.95, or really the 11,000 level, is the you're a cunt, get back into the market, stop being a bear, you stupid idiot. That's that level, really. You know, it's just good to remind yourself that the market is smarter, so don't be a cunt. That's really the bottom line, you know. Just because you think it should do something doesn't mean it's actually going to do it. All right, so let's check this out. We've got that level. That's still the important level, I'm saying. Obviously, this monthly and weekly resistance here is very important for bears to hold on to. They need to keep doing that. And so what I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at these bounces up. This is just an opportunity for me to sell more, to short more. That's it. Bulls are just giving me amazing opportunity. They're going to make the same argument on these wicks down here. But that's the thing is, I don't know, you tend to get less opportunities. And there's been a lot more opportunities to long down here. There's been fewer opportunities to short. So I feel like that's still kind of the way the market is moving, and the bounces are just to trick people into longing so that we can punch through the 10K resistance or the 10K support here and really, really scare some people moving down into the lows again. So that's still what I'm expecting. I'm expecting this candle. I mean, this candle can close green. If the daily closes above 10.5, that's not the most bearish thing ever, so definitely be watching for that. But right now, I'm just treating this as, a stop hunt, an SFP potentially, something. But I'm gonna be monitoring it. I'm gonna be paying a lot of attention to the daily close today. I am mostly in cash overall, and I don't know what my average exit is. I could calculate it for you or pull up. Well, I'm not gonna pull up my trading sheet while I have this open, but I have been shorting from this point, so my average exit is somewhere in between 1200 here and 10.4. So now I do have a few altcoin positions. I will tell you about those at the end of the video here. Bullish scenario. Let's just talk about that for a second. If these are higher lows on the daily and the weekly, but it's overall consolidation. The major bullish case in my mind is that if you look at some of the indicators, we definitely have some, bullish consolidation up in momentum here. With, when we do get the momentum going up, it's stronger than the momentum has been on the downside overall, other than down here. And that was back, of course, when we first fell from that upper area. So, huge consolidation range, still the same thing. We're essentially bouncing between those monthly, weekly levels, things like that. And I'm putting the weekly range still at 11.5 and 9.5. Those are the major areas of interest so far, as we saw when we looked at that weekly level there. That's what I'm talking about. Most of the price action, I'll say, has been between those levels with just, some deviation from that rule. All right. Now, we're bouncing around, same thing. This is that way back when OB over here, less important overall. I would say look at the volume in that area over just that weekly or monthly, whatever it was, OB from way, way back in 2018 there, I believe it was. Obviously, we have a big volume node down here. There has been quite a bit of volume in this range. That means this range is very important, as I think we all know now. And, there was right above the range that I'm actually drawing, there was quite a bit of buying and selling in this area, and then a lot less action up here. So expect this to be resistance again, as it was here when we came up, if we get back up to that range. But either way, once we break out of this 11.5 to 12, you could say here, or break below this 9.5, I mean, look at this. This is the volume gap down to 8,000, essentially. Expect a big move if we move out of here. I think if we do move back to the upside, I still expect this to be resistance and that to be another false breakout, unless it can get above 12. So if I end up having to re-enter the market at 11,000, I'm going to be looking to exit once again at the 12,000 area, until it can turn that into support or break above it convincingly, and then I'll just re-enter somewhere up here if I have to. Not a big deal. But that's how I'm looking at it. That's my plan. The bullish case is definitely if we can close back above this little high here that we came up and had a sharp sell-off from. And essentially that's just that weekly, monthly level, as I said. So turn that into support, and great, I'll feel a lot more bullish. The bulls here, they're just trying to buy support again because it's been support, and that's fine. For larger position sizing, though, I'm just not interested in buying here. I'm interested in buying a lot lower than this. Possibly as low as the mid 7,000 or high 7,000 range. Now, 6 hour here. This little line that I like to use is pretty good for just kind of determining which way the market's moving. So short term, it does look like it's moving still bullish, still moving up overall, but it's having some trouble breaking back above that 10.4 level. The other bullish thing that I want to just bring some awareness to is the OBV. This OBV is very bullish, certainly. Not a lot of reason to be bearish based on this, and we've had higher lows here just recently on the OBV, so overall buy pressure is still increasing. Consolidation is happening on lower volume, as you can see here on the volume MA. Nothing really to infer necessarily. Volume tends to dry up during consolidation. What's interesting to me is while volume is drying up, buy volume is still supporting the movement overall, and buy volume has been increasing. And that can be two things. It can be that this really is bullish and this is a bullish consolidation and it will break up. Or it's the fact that bears are just waiting and they're not dumping on the market. They know they have time. They know people are bullish. They can be patient. And that's what I'm assuming at the moment until it is invalidated. That being said, if we break back up, if the OBV gives us a new high, which it hasn't technically done, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, obviously this was something else there, and we did break back above that, and we did go back to 12,000 on this movement here afterwards, because that was that little testing the monthly level there. So came back up here on that one. Now this one, lots and lots of buying there, almost the same high in the OBV, while we had a significantly lower high in price. Now that tells me that there was a lot of orders, just sell orders in the book. Lots of orders filled on that movement. Lots of market buying on that movement. That's what that kind of means to me anyway. And now we're just kind of waiting to see what happens with this daily. It is of course trying to move up because the daily is still green. But after that high, we did have this low and then a new low, and we could have then potentially continued lower here with that pattern. But that was just because of these two daily red candles there. That's what that is. All right. So those are some of the main things, just bullish and bearish cases. I am still bearish overall, and I am a patient fucking bear. Just wanted to look at the OBV on the 6 hour. 6 hour is declining, definitely more sell volume coming in. The bulls are trying to support it here at that same 10K. Nothing new. That's not telling us anything we don't already know. Force is consolidating. Definitely some strong force down, less force pushing up overall. Stronger force movements down. Same thing though, just showing consolidation. So, you can be patient here. You don't have to be crazy. If you're gonna day trade, find your bias and just do low time frame stuff, because this is a tightening consolidation and it is going to move, very strongly soon. I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we can still bounce around for a couple days even. But there is a movement coming soon, and it is impossible to say exactly what day it's going to come. So get ready. Be ready for that big move. You can bet on it, of course. I'm betting on it, but I've been betting on it for a while now and been bearish, near all of these highs. With the exception of this one, I was tricked by that, as I said in the video last week. All right, so those are some of my thoughts on Bitcoin. Just target-wise, if we want to talk about some things, bullish target for me would still be that same 1400 essentially, which was the monthly high. Some people are calling this like a cup and handle. I don't think so personally, just because it doesn't fit what it's supposed to for that pattern on a long time frame. And this is technically it's consolidation, and you could argue that this is a handle, whatever. I mean, if you do want to look at it as that, fucking geez, the target of that cup and handle, even if you took just from like this point, I mean, fuck, that's a huge movement. I mean, you're looking at, let's see, from here, I'll just say from here to here. Um, you're looking at 21. I mean, a new high, basically. You'd be looking at either the 20K level or a new all-time high. And I'm just not betting on that yet, personally. Eventually, sure, yeah, absolutely. That's what Bitcoin does. Don't think that it won't go back to that 20K level and beyond, probably, because if you were around in 2017, nobody thought it was going up there, until it got there. I think at 10K we were talking about 20K, but we thought 10K for sure was going to be the high when we were back at 1K. So yeah, no, the Bitcoin is an insane asset. Expect it to do the unexpected, certainly. So I don't look at that. It just doesn't fit the pattern of a cup and handle to me, in my mind. So I'm looking at that 13K, just to come back and test that monthly level, essentially. If we do test it again soon, I mean, that's pretty bullish, and I would want to see consolidation then below, or just punch through it right away. Because if we just come back up and reject again, then we're going down. Like, there's no way. We need to consolidate right below it or punch through it next time we test it. So that level will be still very important. And just as a reminder, that is the monthly close from 2017, 2018. I guess just December, yeah. So that was the November, December close open after, going to 20K, and just after we hit 20K, closed back down here and then open there and continue down. So we tested that level. That is a very, very significant level, but we did have a pretty strong rejection. However, that monthly candle, that looks pretty good. This monthly candle is not super inspiring at the moment, but if it did close back above that 10.8 level, that would be significant. That would definitely be a fairly bullish monthly close above that level. Okay, and if it closes down here, that's not necessarily super bearish or anything. If it closes below, that's fine. It can do that. We could come down here. We could have like even 3 months of short downtrend and then go back up. Not a big deal. All right. So let's talk about a low here. Definitely, I mean, you've got a lot. This is a huge volume area here. Obviously, more buying way down there, but we're not too worried about that at the moment. So this 798 level, basically 8,000 level here, 8.1 to 7.9. That's what that volume area is there. Lots and lots of volume there back when we were in this range earlier this year. Expect that to have a strong reaction again. If we do drop from here, it's a huge volume gap down there. Maybe some bounce here at 8.8 if we drop below, but if we drop below this previous level here, this OB on the daily, we are definitely going to go down and test this high volume POC here. And expect us to dip below it, but be quickly bought back up. So, bidding in that range definitely has a high probability of filling, because Bitcoin reacts with insane movements, because there's so many people who have no idea what the fuck they're doing trading it, though. Lots of panic at that level, I would expect. Here, people are going to be panicking, expecting it to drop down, and it might. So we could very easily come back and hit this low 7,000 range even. Bidding in the mid 7,000 range has a possibility of filling due to that, but it's really probably only going to fill because of that. This area has a lot more probability of actually filling your orders. But if there is panic, yeah, absolutely, you can get some low orders filled down here. Lots of people are going to be trying to buy in this range, which is why I think we do have a higher probability of scaring some of the early buyers out by dropping further. But not on the first try. I think there will be a nice bounce first, and then maybe it would come back down and attempt to break lower. So I'll be watching for that to happen. That being said, lots of people do want to buy in this area, so we could have a bunch of nonsense up here to try and trick people like myself back into the market before moving down there. You know, again, expect the unexpected. I'm betting on the side of down at the moment, as I said, though. Okay. We got a good little look there. Let's check out something here. All right, I am trading this coin. It doesn't look super good for me at the moment, but let's check it out. This is Seller Network. It's one of the IEOs. Got a super short time frame chart up here. Nice little OBV spike and definitely some divergence here. So I'm hoping this bounces right in this area. My weighted average entry is right here at 74, and my risk limit is at 64. If we drop below this 68 though, that's kind of my level in the sand at the moment, where I have alerts and probably would scare me out of the position. I can always re-enter if that does turn out to be just a drop below there briefly, though. Unfortunately, it did not hold the EMA levels here on the daily. I was really hoping that it would. And it's had a pretty strong sell-off from those points. I don't think you could really necessarily call this a head and shoulders anymore, just because of this failure here and drop down below that previous low. But so far we are still holding that secondary low, and that's the low that I really wanted to see hold. So I'm going to be watching that one, watching for that low to hold, or to have a low volume dip below and quick buy up. Overall, yeah, I mean, it has the same kind of pattern that we saw on ETC. It has the same kind of pattern that we saw on a lot of the other IEOs before they started some moves up. And I'm expecting this one to do something similar to what we saw with Dusk, with Matic, stuff like that. So watching this one, already have a position in it. That's where it is. First take profit level I'm really interested in would be the 112 level there. So overall, it has a great RR for me. You know, I'm risking a total of 2% of my account value for a shitcoin trade that could net me a lot. So not a huge deal to me. If I lose that 2%, yeah, that's my risk limit there. So it's all good. Maybe it's a mistake to tell you fuckers this. I don't know. 3.8 R on that one for a 2% loss. Not a bad trade-off. All right. Let's take a look to, so just at the short-term BTC here. Just clean this up a little bit. We got a lot going on there. All right. So we are inside that area that I was talking about. This is a BitMEX chart, and actually, do I have the... I don't have... Okay, so we'll just pull up a daily real quick. This is a 3-hour. This is a 30-minute. So what I was talking about... Well, actually, we don't even need to do that. We can just keep it on that and see it. All right. So I have the fibs on there just for the range. This is the range that we've been trading in short time frame that I'm calling it here. This is about 9.8 and then 10.9. You know, we had interaction there, we had interaction there, just like that. So that's definitely the range. You could also argue that the range high is a little bit lower because we did come up and touch this level at the 10.8 more times. I mean, that was turned it, you know, tried to make it into support, dropped below on the way down. We came up, we consolidated below it, popped up, rejected, came back up, touched it again, and rejected. Nice little Dow style SFP there. Some people are calling it a head and shoulders. Kind of, I guess. Yeah, you could argue it. maybe on a lower time frame. And then we came down and hit it again. Now, this is what I'm talking about. On MEX, we came all the way up here to 10.8, whereas on the spot exchanges, the high was about 10.7. So that's what I was talking about earlier with that swing up. Definitely a lot more liquidations on MEX happening, pushing that price up $100 higher. Now the price has come back to about the same level on the exchanges here. Okay. You can see the fib levels here. We've been popping around that 0.5 of the range a whole bunch. That's just the mid-level of that range from what I'm considering kind of the low of the range. I'm considering this just a deviation here, and the high of the range there. So come down 0.6 is definitely an area that the bulls want to see hold. But yeah, I mean, this seems like that just seems so likely. We've come up and hit that level so many times, and it's acted as support and resistance so many times there. That could, if it is going to continue bullish today or even short term here, I could see a quick spike down to this 10.4 level almost. 10,040, that is, not 10,400. Yeah. If it breaks below there, but yeah, it's going lower for sure. So, of course, I'm hoping it does that because I want to take all your money away from you, bulls. That's the way it works. Beautiful thing about being mostly in cash is that you don't lose money. If price goes up, then you just enter a little higher and you can still make money. If price goes down, oh, great, you got more Bitcoin. No problem. All right, let's take a look here at one of the other things that I am trading. And yes, it is the despised XRP. XRP is consolidating here after breaking down. I do like that there has been a little bit more bullish momentum on the consolidation. This needs to break up very soon. If it does break down and break below that previous low there, that's very bad. Yeah, that 25 cent level essentially there. It's actually about 26 cents. And unfortunately, it is consolidating below the EMAs on the 6 hour and the daily. It has been rejected by that fast EMA a bunch of times, which don't love that it's consolidating into a symmetrical triangle below resistance there. But this is XRP. This shit, just scams everyone all the time, and we are above the higher volume area on price right now. There was a lot of buying here when we dipped down to these lows. BTC chart, same sort of thing. It's been kind of bouncing around. It has been making higher lows and equal highs here. Now a lower high overall, just the consolidation. Let's see. We do have higher time frame divergence on both the BTC and the USD chart here. You can see that divergence there. Not on the OBV, which, I would prefer to see it on that as well. However, it's not a deal breaker, as an OBV is a leading indicator, so it moves a little bit differently. This is a very obvious divergence. So as long as we don't close a daily candle back below 26 cents, XRP is pretty good in my book. Divergence, and it's not just on the MACD, it is divergent on several other indicators. I just have that one pulled up right now. And that's, I always want to trade things that are divergent below the EMAs on the daily. If they're below the EMAs, I don't want to fucking touch it until it's divergent. So, knowing XRP though, who the fuck knows? It could scam us all, come way down, and then go up. You never fucking know with this coin. But I am trading it. I did buy after this drop here. and my entry area is here in the 0.26, or the point, yeah, I mean the 2600 BTC or 2600 SAT range. So right now price is a little bit below my entry, but I entered here, so this is all just within the mid-range of where I am and what I'm looking at. But that's my line in the sand. My risk limit is a little bit lower on this trade. The risk limit is actually down here. I have to look at the sheet to know the exact number, but I know that this candle came really close to my risk limit that day, but it did not touch it, so I did stay in the position. But on a closing basis, for sure, this level here, the 25, is my closing basis stop, discretionary stop on that one. So I do have alerts, I just pay attention to it. You could also argue for these higher lows, moving the stop up. Knowing XRP, though, it just likes to scam and drop below sometimes. So we could see it drop back below here quickly and then get bought up. But yeah, I'm a buyer at these levels until we close below that level. That's my line in the sand for a daily closing basis right there. All right. Oh, you know what I haven't taken a look at? I just want to look at BNB real quick because they just said that they are offering lending on Binance. So if you're not in this yet, this is a good one. Nope, that's not what I wanted. That's what I've already got pulled up. All right. So doesn't look super great right now overall. You know, OBV's kind of rounding. Don't love to see that. We did see this same pattern, though, on ETC just recently. It did this kind of thing where it came down and then came down again and then just shot the fuck up, especially on the USD pair on it. So that could happen with this. Right now, not a lot to love. It's a pretty ugly chart, not a lot of good signals. The one thing I will say is that momentum and force, though, are definitely trending up, and we've even got some higher... Ooh, timer. Well, I've been talking for a long time. We've even got some of this, you know, not only trending up on momentum and force, but some higher highs there, too. So I do like that. We had kind of a little three-drive pattern there, and then bounced out of it. I would expect this to make a higher low here. You know, here or just below down here. My entry on BNB right now is at this level. I bought at the low of this candle, so I'm down a little bit on the USD value of that. But I did buy down here at the low on the BTC pair at about 25. So it came back and just touched my entry area here. Due to the lending possibility, I'm going to be looking to buy more BNB for sure and offer that, because that's just free money. I mean, it's fucking crazy not to have it, especially when you can buy it very likely at or near its you know, medium-term low here. I would expect to see this turn into head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders pattern for sure, with this being the low, this being a shoulder, and then creating a shoulder over here somewhere. Doesn't matter that it's descending, we can still pop up and hit, you know, something up here in the 32,000 level there. All right. Yeah, that's the big news that I'm aware of, is the lending. Not a lot of other big news coming out. There was, you know, some trade war news, the American president tweeting about stuff, and that caused a jump in Bitcoin, or at least it happened in tandem with it. Didn't necessarily cause it. However, you know, potentially someone savvy is out there watching that and using that as their narrative to push the price up for whatever purpose. I believe it's to fill short positions. Now, my idea that Bitcoin is going to go down means that I think overall cash is going to outperform both BTC and altcoin positions, which is why I'm in cash and not heavily in altcoins, even though some of them are making some great strides on their BTC pairing. Overall, they still are down on cash pairings, so I'm trying to stay very liquid at the moment and buy some dips here soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Definitely check out some of the other great streamers out there and YouTube people. I watch a bunch of stuff myself and am always on crypto Twitter. You can follow me, same as the channel name. In the description of the video, there is actually some links to that. Link to the Discord as well, where I hang out most of the time when I'm trading during the day. And give a shout out to some of the people that I enjoy for sure. Nick Core, Whale Bear Man, the Hash Rate people, everybody in the Bitcoin Masons Discord. Lots of fun. And, love interacting with people on crypto Twitter as well, at least the ones that are not totally fucking insane. If you're not subscribed to the channel already, please do, and hit the notification button so you see when we're making videos and going live, stuff like that. And, hey, if you don't have an account yet on one of the major exchanges, if you just want to open another account, support the channel, helps me know that, it's worth my time doing this stuff. We do have some affiliate links in the channel description. Go ahead and make an account on Binance or Bybit or BitMEX. And I don't offer other affiliate links because those are 3 of the primary platforms that I'm interested in. There's a lot of platforms out there. There's a lot of stuff. But if you've been around crypto for a while, you know that a lot of new exchanges or even decent exchanges tend to go belly up for whatever fucking reason. Cryptopia's big fucker not too terribly long ago. I was lucky that I didn't have very much stuff on there, but definitely will never get those fucking coins back. That happens. If it's not your keys, not your coins. That's the way it works. That's the risk we take with all this stuff. It's still the Wild West. It's just the Wild West when they were starting to make states now. So it got a little bit more complicated. But thanks for joining, thanks for hanging out, and check out the channel for another video later in the week for sure. I'll see you guys around. If when I'm doing a live stream, if you want me to chart some stuff live, feel free to let me know about it. All right, enjoy, go out there, make some good trades, practice fucking risk management, don't lose all your money. All right, later.